भेज दिया था, उसको भेज दिया, वो चलाएगा, सृष्टि चलाएगी, सृष्टि अमित चलाएगी।
मैं नहीं किसी ज्वाइन कर पा रहा हूँ कि मैंने ठीक है, अब नहीं ज्वाइन करेंगे।
क्यों?
नहीं आप अपना आईडी से कीजिए ना,
मुझे लग ही नहीं रहा।
तो फ्रेंड्स
हमारे उससे किया था सर।
तो नरेंद्र का किस में करना है?
तुमने एक लिंक भेजा था ना।
Very good morning, and I think we are going live now, starting today on the 19th of April. I just want to ask my colleagues in the back end, are we live, Srishti? Wonderful. So thank you so much for the thumbs up, and for all of you who are already joined Samagam 2022, a very, very warm welcome, and what a fantastic day. Really looking forward to this day of learning, sharing, and collaborating. And before we begin, at 10 o'clock, for those of you who are already a part of Samagam 2022, we would like to start with an audio visual. So I request my colleagues in the backend team to begin the audio visual for today's program. Soparno.
They're not taking up the.
We shall overcome. We shall overcome someday.
So I think that was the audio visual. Is there something else coming, Soparno? So I Srishti, are we good to go? So thank you so much for the thumbs up, Srishti, and for all of you who are a part of Samagam 2022. Before I go any further, a wonderful day today. Have been really looking forward to this, and we kickstart Samagam 2022 with this special AV, a short AV that we prepared exclusively for you to start Samagam 2022. So I request my colleagues in the backend team to kindly play the AV. Thank you so much for this, AV, Soporno, and my colleagues. And this is really giving me the goosebumps, seriously. Very, very powerful message. And in line with what we are going to discuss today in Samagam 2022. And I want to start with some very simple but very thought-provoking words that if you want to go fast, you go alone or we go alone. But if you or we want to go far, we go together. So, as I said, very, very simple words. I still have the goosebumps from this a very powerful audio visual. And this really is the theme for the day. In fact, this is what has driven Samagam all these past years. I'm very happy to share with you that we are in the 4th edition of Samagam 2022. With all of you, more than 50 of you have joined online. I wish to welcome you all once again and look forward as the day progresses that more like-minded people will be part of the group. So I was on Samagam and we began in 2018, then 2022, 2020, and of course then a lot of regional Samagams in 2021. We will talk a little bit about that later. But before we go any further, what is the big theme for Samagam 2022? It's pretty simple and straightforward: partnerships and winning coalitions for achieving our sustainable development goals. So this is really in a crux, in one or two lines. This is what we have all assembled today to deliberate, to discuss, and hopefully come out with some answers and some clear solutions. So, and of course, if there is such a great appreciation and acceptance on the need and value for partnerships, why are there roadblocks? Why are there barriers? This is what we're going to discuss. And thinking groups opine that, and often that, development agencies, corporates, and civil society organizations, which are called सरकार समाज और बाजार, जिसको हम कहते हैं, कि उनका जो एक इतिहास है, उनका एक इतिहास जो है वो कोलैबोरेशन का उस किस्म का इतिहास नहीं है जो उनकी ताकत है, जो उनकी क्षमताएं हैं. तो इसको लेकर के जो है आज चिंतन मनन समागम 2022 में होगा. और जो हमारी जो चर्चा होगी, जो हमारा विमर्श होगा, वो पूरा विनिंग कोएलिशंस को लेकर के होगा. To proceed further, of course, a lot of interrelated questions like what kind of policies, priorities, activities, and practices of public and private institutions are required to achieve the goals that all of us together wish to achieve. What should be the quality of communication, relationship, and connection amongst stakeholders? So wide diversity of stakeholders, and in our mental models and deeply held beliefs, assumptions of how we need to think, how we need to collaborate. So this is all that we're going to discuss. As I mentioned briefly earlier, in terms of Samagam, I would also like to take the opportunity briefly to share with you. We've had first Samagam in 2018, the second one in 2020. And very interestingly, we had 4 regional Samagams last year in 2021. In fact, we began with the Northeast Samagam. We moved and had the Himalayan Samagam. Then we had the Dakshin, then we had the Paschim Samagam, and then the Dakshin Samagam. So in a way, taking a round like this. And today, on the 19th of April, we are here for Samagam 2022. What is also very interesting is that how Samagams are hosted. And this is also a perfect example of collaboration. In 2018, when the first Samagam took place, it was only Pradhan. But I'm very happy to share with you that Samagam 2022, this day's event, is being brought together by 10 of us, 10 organizations, namely Pradhan, Priya, and CYSD, supported by Niti Aayog, FICCI, and Vani, and by in collaboration with Mission Samriddhi, Social Development for Communities Foundation, Sahyog Foundation, and SISTA. So 10 of us coming together. We will really try and work very hard to manage our timelines. I had 10 minutes, but then we also had the audio visual. So briefly speaking, today's program, of course, this is the inaugural where we are trying to set the context. We have keynotes, then we have 3 sessions after that. And then in the evening, we will wrap it all up together. We hope to complete by 6:30 today evening. So that is the broad plan for the day. And these 3 sessions that we will have after the keynote, society organization, what have been their experiences, what are their challenges, how can they work better. Session 2, post-lunch, where we will deliberate why are donors seeking to co-fund and their experiences and challenges. And then the third session is how convergence of government departments is helping deliver greater impact for the development rupee. So as I said right in the beginning, the entire theme is on partnerships, is on winning coalitions, how governments, how businesses, and how civil society, Sarkar, Samaj or Bazaar, and I really like these words, Sarkar, Samaj or Bazaar, किस तरीके से सरकार, समाज और बाजार मिलकर के अपनी ताकत और अपनी क्षमताओं को एक मंच पर लाकर जो है एसडीजी, सस्टेनेबल डेवलपमेंट गोल्स की उस दिशा में आगे बढ़ सकते हैं, इसके ऊपर हम लोग आज मंथन करेंगे। कुछ हाउसकीपिंग पॉइंट्स मैं आपको संक्षेप में बताना चाहूंगा। ये जो लिंक आपको दिया गया है वो आपकी ईमेल आईडी के लिए यूनिक है। आप कृपया करके इस प्रोग्राम में जब ज्वाइन करें, एक ही डिवाइस के साथ में ज्वाइन करें। आपका अगर कोई टेक्निकल इश्यू होगा तो आप लॉबी एरिया में जा सकते हैं। तो ये कुछ हाउसकीपिंग और कुछ बुनियादी बातें थी। अब मुझे लगता है समय आ गया है that I should introduce Mr. Narendra Nath, and he's the one who will take over and set the ball rolling for the day. So a very brief bio of Naren, who has been with Pradhan for a very long time. In fact, if I should be precise, 33 years. So Naren has been with Pradhan since 1989. So long stint in Pradhan, and he has served in many senior management positions, including the executive director of Pradhan from April 2017 till March 2022. I also take the opportunity on behalf of everyone, Naren, to thank you for the excellent work that you've done at Pradhan and for leading the embedded cell with the National Rural Livelihood Mission. Naren is a bachelor's in mechanical engineering from Kerala University and holds a postgraduate diploma in rural management, again from IRMA Anand. And he has done some great work paving the way for the emergence of the women's SHG movement. Apart from that, Naren has extensive experience in implementing large-scale livelihood programs in central India. He has also set up the National Resource Center for Rural Livelihoods, and that has informed the design of the flagship programs such as Deen Dayal Antyodaya Yojana, which is the National Rural Livelihood Mission. He has also been associated with the Mahatma Gandhi, or rather known as MG Narega. So Naren, all set, and once again with our big focus on time today, I'm really glad. I'm giving myself a small pat on the back. We started at 10:01. It's 10:11. I think we are sticking to what we are trying to respect everyone's time. So 10 minutes gone. Naren, over to you. It's all yours. Are you there, Naren?
Thank you, Anup. Yeah, I'm here. I heard all what you said. I think you were over charitable on me on your description. So I have a short PowerPoint presentation, which I would request Amit to please display. So welcome. So by the time he sets it up, I just want to welcome everybody again on my own behalf and everybody in Pradhan to welcome to this Samagam 2022 partnerships, alliances, and collaborations for societal transformation, as we named it back in 2018 when we originally started. And surely we didn't start it alone. I mean, Pradhan was one of the initial propounders of the Samagam idea, but we had Rajesh from Priya, Jagadanand ji from CYSD, and three of us actually came together and initially started this whole moment. The idea was to talk about partnerships, not necessarily the content of the work on water or sanitation or livelihood, but how do we as a collective, as a fraternity, come together to take this idea forward and reach out to millions of the people who are deserving. So that was the idea of Samagam, to talk about the mechanics and processes of partnerships, what makes and what breaks good partnerships. In the last 5 years, I think we had good experiences in this the whole Samagam experience. And as Anup said, in the last couple of years, I think the Samagam has taken a life of its own, and it has actually become a much larger collaborative platform. It is no more any single or a couple of organizations led process. I think many of us are coming together, and I think as the years go by, I think we're getting that collaboration itself on organizing this discussion on collaborations, that itself is getting larger. The past 2 years has been really traumatic. As the pandemic hit across the world, as the latest statistics say, at least more than 500 million people have been affected in official records by the pandemic. and I think undetected there could be millions more. As the famous quote from Charles Dickens, it was the worst of times. But I will not be able to say the other part of the quote, which says it was also the best of times. But I would say it was also interesting times for the civil society when we discovered that how partnerships and how we need to stick together. If you have to address a big, huge, large common enemy like the pandemic, we all needed to come together. We needed to communicate with each other. We needed to talk to each other and address this or kind of confront this huge challenge together. So I think we all learned the value of partnerships, albeit in a difficult way, but I think it has added to the cause of what Samagam stands for, that yes, we need to come together, and if we go walk together, we actually get to walk longer. Otherwise, you can always feel lonely and get tired and fall off the way. So we have so the last 5 years, as we said, the lessons, again, I don't think there are any new, very extraordinary insights coming out of any of the slides that are going to follow. But I think good ideas have always been there. We need to keep repeating them. We need to keep reinforcing them, because end of the day, it has to become your day-to-day practice, day-to-day habit. And things can become a habit only if we continue to talk about it again and again. So the major themes in the earlier Samagams has been partnerships are essential. Only collaborations can help scale up, and collaborations build greater value than competition. So the value of collaboration itself. Governments may have, incompetent governments may have the tendency to overestimate oneself and say, no, we can achieve everything. We are, we are all powerful. We have all the mandate. We have all the resources. No, I don't think the SDGs, as they are such ambitious goals, which are global goals, and to achieve them on any of those fronts, even just one of the front, on health or on sanitation, on livelihoods, it takes a lot of doing. I think everybody needs to come together. So next slide, please. So therefore, we need to come together and move from a transactional relation to relation which respects each other, which respects each other's strengths. We need to work on each other's, build on each other, and not actually confront and and not work with each other just on some basic transactional issues, but actually help each other build. Next, please. Embrace diversity and co-create. Again, people, agencies, organizations, governments, as we said, the Samaj, Bazaar, and Sarkar. Each of the institutions come with their own strengths and their own, areas where they need support. So we actually help each other on areas which we need support on each other. And therefore, this embracing diversity is very important. And diversity only can bring more richness and actually more elegant solutions to the problems that we are trying to address. And co-creation is the value. So that, I build on you, actually not compete with you or not negate you. What you said is as right as what I am saying. Let us talk to each other. Let us build on each other. Yeah, please. Next slide, please. Have your ears to the ground. That thing is very, very important. As we say, professionals, we have our feet on the ground and head in the clouds. So even remaining as close and as connected with the common people, the last person on the queue, I think that is very important. So receiving feedback from the most common people as to how our interventions are helping. So these are also some of the lessons that have come out from the series of Samagams that we've had. Next, please. Listen to the people on the ground again. Listen to the NGOs, what they're saying. But the NGOs are actually connected. The small organizations, they're actually connected with the common people. They're connected with the day-to-day problems of poor people. So I think being in connect with them, and again, helps us be in touch with the last person in the queue. Yeah, so therefore that is another very important lesson. Next, please. There's a lag between, I think, anyway. So the acknowledging power dynamics. This is one of the very important lessons that has come out from the earlier Samagams, and I think surely today we'll also talk about it. I think we should be asking questions to the resource persons today as to how do we actually address this issue of power? How do we address the issue of inequalities? How do we address the issue of command, control, who decides, who gets credit, who gets the space? I think this is very important but the idea is that we need to ensure that everybody is able to influence the outcome. Even the most common people, the people who are really suffering from the issues, they need to be able to guide the outcome, guide the achievement of the outcome. So this power dynamics is a very important this thing. That thing we need to be very watchful. Next, please. Another very important lesson, open and frank communication. We can agree to disagree. We can agree to say that, okay, I will try to do this my way, you do it. But, we keep engaged. We keep communicating with each other. And at some point of time, we will find value in, working with each other. So this communication, and whatever it is, however painful it is, however difficult it is, we need to keep the channels of communication open among the Samaj, Bazaar, Sarkar, stakeholders. Yeah. Next, please. Next, please. Yeah. Evaluate together, learn from experiences. So keep, again, as some of the earlier slides say, keep your ears to the ground, keep listening to what is the feedback coming from the people, keep listening to feedback from each other. What are the partners telling to each other? So how do we actually constantly keep listening to ourselves as to how the processes are proceeding? And most importantly, listen to the process of partnership itself. Are we openly communicating? Are the decisions, much more, are more and more people getting a chance to be part of the decision-making processes? How distributed is the power in the whole system? So therefore, I think these things are very important, and these are very important aspects that we need to keep learning as the partnership moves forward. Next, please. Code of conduct, again, we need to, since again, people from very disparate, very different, very diverse backgrounds come together in the partnerships, especially from the government, from businesses, from the civil society organizations. We need to have a common, minimum program and a common code of conduct, which again, basic purpose is that we don't run away from each other. We keep confronting each other. We agree to disagree, again, as I say, but continue to keep engaged with each other. That is very important. Yeah. And last but not least, the next slide. Go beyond your comfort zones. Take risks, because, again, working with each other, making space for each other, listening to each other, maybe putting a little lid on your own, aspirations for some time, so that, we are able to work with the group. It needs to, and sometimes doing things that we are not fully comfortable with. I think the most difficult thing to work with each other is to, kind of to listen to each other and to make space for each other. And I think we need to come out of all that, communicate with each other. As the AV said, the audiovisual in the beginning said, if you walk together, we get to walk longer. So I will conclude the set of lessons that we have received from the earlier Samagams with this very, very famous quote from the Rig Veda, which says, Sangachadvam, Sambadadvam, Samvo Manasi Janatam. It says, let us move in harmony, let us speak in one voice, and let our minds be in harmony and in unison. So with this, I hand over the forum to Anu again to take it forward to the next set of sessions. Thank you so much, and wish you all a wonderful, very engaging experience in Samagam 22. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Naren, for setting the context with this super clear PowerPoint. And as I said, set the ball rolling. For those of you who have just joined us a short while ago, we have begun the day sharp at 10 o'clock. We are doing our best, and we shall continue to try and do our best to stick to the timelines. We value your time. So as we were saying right in the beginning, and I would like to repeat that, in fact, during the course of the day several times, that the theme for Samagam 2022 is, in as simple words as possible, about partnerships and about winning coalitions. So how can partnerships and how can winning coalitions, primarily between government, businesses and civil society, what we call Sarkar, Samaj or Bazaar, how can they come together? And Samagam, which of course एक हिंदी का शब्द है जो confluence को denote करता है, collaboration को denote करता है, conversations को denote करता है. How can all these positive forces come together towards achieving our sustainable development goals? So this is what the theme of the day is. So we are about to begin our keynote session, and I could see in the list of participants, I would like to welcome Of course, I welcome each one of you. And I was also going through the list of names. So interesting to see that, we have people from Ranchi, we have people from Patna, we have people from Bhopal, Jagdalpur, Mumbai, Noida, Betul. So a little bit the cross section of entire India. So very, very warm welcome to each one of you. And special welcome to our keynote speakers. I could see in the list that Miss Shoko Noda, who's going to be our first keynote speaker today. Ma'am, a very, very warm welcome to you. I could see that you are there. Also delighted to note that Mr. Rakesh Ranjan, who's the mission director for Aspirational Districts Program, भारत सरकार की एक बड़ी महत्वाकांक्षी परियोजना है. आप उसके मिशन डायरेक्टर हैं, आप भी हमारे कीनोट स्पीकर हैं. सर, आपका भी स्वागत है. So that is what I could see, and I would like to request my back-end colleagues to also kindly get Miss Shoko Noda on the platform. So before I go any further, I would also like to share with all of you that our keynote addresses, so we are going to have 4 keynote addresses. If you have any questions, kindly write them in the message box. Time willing, time permitting, we'll try and put up your questions to our keynote speakers. So our theme for the keynote addresses, once again, is on the importance of having winning coalitions for achieving our SDGs. So same keynote address as our theme. Now, I would like to introduce Ms. Shoko Noda. She has an exceptionally illustrious and a truly global background. Ms. Noda, can you hear me? Are you there?
यहाँ से खोला आपके में ईयरप्लग्स लगे हुए हैं ना
तो फिर से तो लिंक पे जाना पड़ेगा ना.
Yes sir, we are live. You can.
So I was just informed by my tech colleagues that we've ended one session and now we are beginning the second one. So now we are beginning with the keynote session and keynote addresses. And I would like to request my tech team, my colleagues, to kindly have Ms. Shoko Noda join us. Ms. Noda, can you hear me? Ms. Shoko Noda? Ms. Shoko Noda, are you there?